Good evening. It's 6:40 p.m. It is May 14th. It is Mother's Day, and today I'm going to make a video and just kind of rant about what it was like to be a mom, and how I am grateful to be a mother, um, and kind of talk about how I became a mother. How I became a mother. I think growing up, I have always been very, I hate to use this word, but I've always been like, into, you know, the mysterious things, and, wondering about God and those sort of things. It was just always my main goal in life. And, as I mentioned, when I was younger, I studied with Jehovah's Witnesses, and I was starting to adapt a lot of their belief system. Mind you, I was someone who was a teenager at that time, and so I studied with Jehovah's Witnesses. I would say from maybe 14 years old through maybe my late 20s, and so I think people became a little shocked that somebody who was striving to be a very religious person at that time, would end up being pregnant. But the thing is that, I was young and very naive, and just always optimistic and thinking that things were going to be okay. And when you're young, you make mistakes, okay? But I don't really consider having my son being a mistake. I think it was the best blessing that ever happened to me in my life. This is the truth. I think before I had my son, I was very lost and very I knew I was lost, but I didn't really have any incentive or any reason to care. I mean, I just felt like there was nothing ever for me to hope for. I didn't care about anything. Nothing mattered to me. Like, literally nothing mattered. And, having my son gave me a reason to survive. I honestly don't think I would have done anything at all, in life, or cared about anything, or tried for anything, or nothing would have mattered. Seriously, I mean, I honestly see where I was so empty, Anyway, and so when I got pregnant, I remember when I found out, I was like kind of freaking out about it. But then at the same time, it's like, I always remembered, okay, I'm an adult, and there's really nothing anybody can do about it. Now, I know that my ex-family got all up in it and started plotting and whatever, but although I was young, I did believe that I could deal with it. Like, I was taking full responsibility for what it was that I felt I did, and I also felt like everything was going to be worked out somehow. You know what I mean? I knew that I was smart enough to manage. I did not get any sort of consistent financial support from my son's father. Not that I'm bringing it up, but the fact is that I basically did everything I could to raise my son on my own. Anyway, so which was a learning experience for me, and it made me a better person. So I believe that, sometimes order does come out of chaos. Like, this is not an ideal situation. I certainly would not suggest anyone go out and get pregnant just to raise a kid, okay? But there's always something beautiful that comes out of things. And I think that me being a mother was the most beautiful thing that ever happened to me. And I'm not just saying that because I don't say shit just because. I really don't. I really don't believe in compromising myself, because I think it reduces the character, and of a person. And I only like to say things that I mean, So I did spend some time with my son. I wanted to spend time with him in a day before Mother's Day, and then just use this day for just pedaling around, and working on little things here and there. I feel sometimes everybody needs to unwind and just have a day where they're just kind of floating around, doing things instinctively, or like based on impulse, like, oh, well, I want to go ahead and paint that pot, or I want to go ahead and paint a picture, or I want to work on some knitting or something, just whatever comes to the top of my head. And it's, it's nice. So that was my gift to myself. Anyway, I wanted to say and talk about, this little card that my son made me many years ago. Because, I always got interested in the shows that my son watched as a mother, right? And I know that we watched SpongeBob a lot when he was little. And, man, we would it came out, I think it was like, I don't know, 1998, 99, something like that. And we'd get up and we'd watch SpongeBob. It was a Saturday morning event, and that was like our big thing. And then we would go out and run our errands afterwards. And it's like, it was really cool. And then a few years later, this particular show called Hamtaro came out. Now, I think I liked this show more than he did, but it was just one of those things where, we constantly referenced it because he knew that I liked it and I liked the show, so it was just it was our little exchange of our discussion. And I remember one year he made me this cute card. He drew it himself, and it was of Hamtaro, and he said, "Happy Ham Mother's Day." And that was the sweetest thing I have ever received in my entire life. And I still, when Mother's Day comes up, in the back of my mind, Mother's Day is always going to be Ham Mother's Day. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day. I would like to say, though, that when we're talking about the subject of mothers, some people would think, well, didn't you love your mother, Maria? I'm going to tell you that, yes, I did. I did love my mother, but it was a very love-hate relationship. And, I think my mother was overloaded and also somehow bought into something that did not necessarily fit her. I think people grow up and they're inspired and or encouraged to have kids because it's something that it's just what they do. Like her mom had kids, her mom's mom had kids, and so on and so on and so on. I think though my mother became a very resentful person, and sometimes people's expectations don't exactly pan out. And there wasn't. She was very bitter, and that was transferred onto her offspring. But there were times where I think I found my mother enduring, like I used to love it when she made my stuffed animals talk. I loved it. And to this day, I still enjoy puppet shows and things like that, or they're cute. She did entertain me, a lot. But she was very short-fused a lot of times. She drank a lot. She was a very obese person, and she was a very bitter person. But I do feel as though, I forgive her, and the reason why is because she's moved on to another plane of existence. I don't know, like I said, I often wonder more and more about the afterlife, okay? People talk about it, they have their ideas, whatever. And I think that my mother deserves to have some sort of inner peace. If there is some sort of beef that she has to deal with a higher being from the abuse that she did inflict on people, that's something that she has to deal with. That's between her and God, you see. And I feel as though mankind in general is very blind, and they're all in a state of where they need some sort of guidance. My mother didn't have any guidance. All she had was generational poverty, and then, this is all she knew. And so the more, I would say, a person is in that state, the more ignorant you're going to be. And this is the result of it. You think it's okay to say certain things to certain kids, to your kids. You think you can do these sort of things, but this is not me bashing my mother. I'm saying is I've analyzed my mother. I've analyzed her for many years. When I was younger, during the time that I was being targeted heavily, even into this very day. And I do understand that my mother's mistakes were based off of just her ignorance. And there was a slight, a little bit of evil there. You know what I mean? So I don't want to go too much into it. But, like I said, I I guess I move on. You know, I move on from that. And anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day, and I'm going to just kind of wrap it up for the rest of the evening. Take care.